Oh my gosh.
It literally just went poof.
Are you serious?
Okay,
I
ready?
think I'm ready.
Lexi, are you
You heard
hearing
it
this?
here. You heard it here first.
He just said he's ready to cut his hair. What's up, everybody? Welcome back to Couple Things,
With Shawn and
a
Andrew.
podcast all about couples and the things they go through.
Today we're going to let you in on something that Shawn and I do. It's super special, and it's been a while since we've done it, actually.
Yeah, we actually did it the other night.
And it was the most aggressive one that we've done.
What are we talking about?
We're talking about monthly checkups, okay? But before we get started,
Please, if you have not yet, subscribe.
and rate the show on whatever platform you're listening to. And if you have feedback or show suggestions,
Yes.
go ahead and email couplethingspod, that's POD, at gmail.com. We love reading through your suggestions, the good and the bad, because we get them both.
So, without further ado, you said it was our most aggressive session this week. We should
I'm not trying to have a double
just
entendre.
repeating what you said.
So Shawn and I have this tradition that we've been doing essentially.
Since we were dating.
Yeah, really. Our first one was on the tennis court when I said,
Yeah.
my purpose is not to make you happy.
And then our next one was in the locker room. And then
We still have not clarified what we're talking about
our
here.
next one was, on the floor.
But we call what we're talking about monthly checkups. And we view these monthly checkups as a safe space where we can give each other feedback in a non-critical, non-emotional way.
Yes. I first want to tell people how monthly checkups came to be.
Let's do it.
Okay, so I'm dating Andrew. It's our first year. Things are getting a little, serious.
Hot and heavy.
Yeah, I think we've said I love you. I think we're talking about future plans. This is within the first year. And I started noticing this trend. Every once in a while, I would get a call or a text from Andrew and he'd be like, "Do you want to meet for coffee?" And I was like, "Sure, where do you want to go?" And he would respond. He would respond with all these different coffee shops. But whenever he responded with frothy monkey ? I was like, "Oh crap. What did I do now?" Because he didn't even notice it, but he would always go to frothy monkey to have hard conversations. Just to kind of talk about, we had talked about,
How many kids do you want?
Yeah, where our relationship was going, religion, really hard conversations were always had at Frothy Monkey.
Kind of like the DTR conversations,
Yes.
DTR, defining the relationship combos. Have you ever heard that?
I have not. I have heard
DTR.
Did we have that conversation?
That's kind of what our frothy monkey conversations were. Not intentionally, but
We just had a DTR conversation every time we went and had coffee.
pretty much.
Let's redefine this relationship.
Okay, so our intention when we were dating and still now is trying to figure out, well, this is more for dating. No, I was going to say I shouldn't have batched marriage in this. But when we were dating, the whole purpose from my point of view was, is this a girl I could marry? So
You had
I
to
wanted to make sure that
constantly ask yourself that.
No, there's just certain things that you think of, like, oh yeah, is she going to be cool if I play in the NFL and then ultimately get cut 9 times? Are you going to be cool with that?
Baby, I love you.
I love you too. But you know what I'm saying? Like, there's certain situations that
Yes.
arise and you're like, okay, well, we should have a conversation about this and reestablish where we're going after that.
So anyways, it was like our 5th time to Frothy Monkey over the course of a year. And I called him out on it. I was like, "What did I do now?" Literally, as we sat down, I was like, "What do we do now?" And he's like, "What are you talking about?" I was like, "We only come to Frothy Monkey when you have something serious to talk about or to point out or something that we should work on."
Yeah.
And I think it was right then and there we're like, actually, this is kind of cool. Let's make this a tradition. So we do monthly checkups. Once a month, we will go for coffee. It's not, I have PTSD towards Frothy Monkey, so we have yet to go back. But we go get coffee. We sit down in a safe space and we're like, okay, give it to me. Lay it on me. What did I do great this month? What do I need to work on?
Yeah. So let me tell you why I think this is important. I truly believe that marriage is the single best self-improvement tool that exists. And the reason why is because you wake up every day next to your spouse and you're confronted with the same situation of, you know what, there's 15 chores that need to be done, and I didn't close the cabinet door, or whatever your pet peeve is of mine. And am I going to change today, or am I going to stay in my normal routine and normal habits? So it forces you to change, and it forces you to self-evaluate. But then you also have this amazing resource of someone who's with you more than any other human, who has a different perspective on who you are. And I think in some ways knows you better than you know yourself, because they're viewing you from the outside in. And, you know, it's hard to like really evaluate everything I'm doing because I'm the one doing it. So we love monthly checkups because it's a time where we can set aside and give each other this feedback so that I can make Shawn more into the woman that she's made to be, and vice versa.
Well, and I will say too, monthly checkups definitely go in seasons and phases, because there were a few times and like stretches there in the past, 7 years we've been together, where we'd be like, do you have any monthly checkups for me? And we were both kind of like,
no, you're killing it.
Not really.
Yeah.
That has not been the case lately. But I will say monthly checkups have been very, very important for us ever since we had Drew, just because with big changes in relationships, big seasons, so it's whether it's like engagement or marriage or your first kid or first dog or moving, things change. The dynamic of your relationship changes, how you view yourself, how you view your spouse, your surroundings, everything changes. So you can't expect the way your relationship was to continue to be the same. And so monthly checkups for us the past 4 months have been kind of brutal. They usually get a little heated.
They have been. We try not to. So let's now that we've explained what the monthly checkups are and why we think they're important, let's talk about how we do them. So what are the ground rules? Okay,
so ground rules. We always try, and I think we're pretty good at it. We do it around 90% of the time. We never do checkups in our house. So we try to leave our house just because it makes it an event. It takes away like the emotion and association you have to like negative things within your home. So does that make sense?
Well, I think, yes, to your point, it breaks the pattern of like, if me and you are like going through a slump where we're just not stoked on each other, us going out
which has been leaving the past few months.
Yes. But us leaving the house breaks the pattern of what's been normal. And I also think there's something to like, just when you're in a different space. Do you remember when you were dating in high school and like you would just be completely locked in on a conversation just because the ambiance is like...
Absolutely.
That's the environment that Shawn and I try to get to.
We take all the distractions away.
So like, yeah, it's easy to keep the TV on or whatever, be distracted at home, like you're saying. So we do try to do it outside the house.
Yes. And then we also try with monthly checkups to kind of like ask each other or put it on the calendar and say, okay, are you good for a monthly checkup date tomorrow at 10 a.m. for coffee? And we try to always get on the same schedule for that because we want to be in the right mindset for monthly checkups. You don't want to go into a monthly checkup when you're bitter or you're tired or you're hangry or anything. You have to be prepared because monthly checkups need to be a time when there's not a lot of emotion involved, no resentment, no like past arguments. You have to sit down and be like, okay, this is a safe space. This is open. You can not critique, but, give me constructive criticism. Yeah. And I have to be willing to receive it.
So it's easy. We try to schedule it because it's tempting sometimes when our emotions are inflamed to be like, okay, let's start a monthly checkup right now. Shawn, you've been freaking, you know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
So we try to schedule out just so the emotional aspect of it is reduced and I can actually give you thoughtful feedback.
Yeah.
Because I truly think that giving feedback as your husband is like my most serious responsibility as a human, because again, I'm responsible to a certain degree for who you're growing into, you know what I'm saying? And if I'm giving you feedback that's just not true, or it's off base, or it's out of selfish motives, then I'm not doing that job well.
And same for me as your wife, we all are significant others in general. You have to be very, very cautious when it comes to feedback or criticism, because the criticism you give your significant other will never leave them. No criticism sticks like that coming from your significant other. And so if you go into a monthly checkup and you're resentful, or you try to jump into a monthly checkup in the middle of an argument and be like, you know what, well, you've been doing this, that sticks, and that builds over time. So if you don't have that foundation of trust and kind of environment for it to be truly coming from a good place, it can hurt your significant other.
You know what I'm super thankful for?
What?
I'll just reiterate this.
Me?
Yes.
Thanks.
But because I know in my core that you care for me. And so like, yes, sometimes you want me to take out the trash because you don't want to. But when you give me feedback on like, hey, Andrew, you need to do a better job at being punctual and showing up to events on time. You're saying that not because of anything selfish, but because you care about me. And
Absolutely.
that's cool. I'm thankful for that we have that trust. And that's never been broken, which is cool, I think.
Yeah.
We're fortunate, you know?
Very. I will add, with monthly checkups, something that you have to also be aware of is, I feel like there's been a couple of times that we've had monthly checkups where you can easily get defensive, because it's like, well, you know, I actually did do this, or I actually did wash the dishes like you asked. But again, within that space, you have to hear the other person, because we've had these conversations a few times where you'll say to me, I don't know, I want you to read more.
Oh,
there you go.
Too soon.
And I'll get defensive and be like, what are you talking about? I read every day. I read articles, this is an argument we had not too long ago.
Like 3
and
days ago.
he'll be like, well, it's something that I've been requesting for, checkups for a while. And you have to be able to remove yourself and say, you know what? This is obviously something my significant other cares about. Is it truly worth fighting over?
I think when people talk about relationships requiring a lot of work, this in some ways is what they're talking about, because it, like, me giving you fair and honest feedback and separating that from selfish feedback, or like, I want you to read because I love to read and I know how much value I get out of it, but I have to work to understand that not everybody's like that. And it's frustrating for me. Like, I'm sitting, when we're sitting on the couch and you're reading an article on your phone and I'm reading like a paperback book, in some ways I feel superior because I'm like, oh, well, I'm academic and I'm learning, but that's dumb of me. You know what I'm saying?
Yes.
I also
do.
What?
Nothing.
The feedback thing is important too. I want to emphasize this because it's very sensitive, and this is where people get hurt.
Yes.
In marriage and dating especially, we've said this already. It is the most tender feedback that you give or receive, because you're both like more vulnerable with each other than probably you are with anybody else, which leaves you open to being hurt more than anyone else can hurt you. So that's why Shawn and I are so particular, and we try to be strategic with this. It's been cool to see how this concept has been confirmed by like marriage counselors and like relationship experts, I guess. They're like, it's really important, like whether it's on a quarterly basis, monthly basis, or however frequently, to have these safe spaces where you can kind of, it's almost like a healthy way of venting, you know?
Well, and I think we touched on this at the very beginning, but something I also want to reiterate is during your monthly checkups, I think one of the most important things you can do is also compliment your significant other on what it is they're doing better, or or something they're doing that you really appreciate.
Yes.
Because again, going back to like love languages, if Andrew's been, which you have been, but you've been washing bottles lately a lot, and there have been times in this, I've done this on purpose out of cattiness, and I apologize. I'll come clean right here. But I'll see you washing bottles, and I'm like, I'm not going to tell him thank you, because it should just be something he does if he sees it.
I've noticed you haven't thanked me.
And my my actual thought is, well, he doesn't thank me for everything I do around the house. I know. I'm coming clean right now.
No, I'm not mad.
But
thankful.
anyways, within the monthly checkups, being able to sit down and say, you know what, Andrew? You've been washing bottles, and I've noticed it, and it makes me feel so loved. And I love that little like gesture that you do. It's little things like that sometimes if they go unnoticed, you might never know as a significant other that it means something to the other person. Mm-hmm. And every month, if you have those little compliments and those little things, it equips your significant other to succeed for you.
Yeah.
So I would always start with that and then ease into, okay, so I'm doing this and you love it. Now, what are some things that I can work on that you aren't appreciating or you aren't liking or whatever?
And the tone with which that message is conveyed is super important too. Not being accusational, not being critical, not being emotional. It's a lot of time, and you hate this because you know I do it intentionally. I'll be like, I'll say, hey, Shawn, you did this well. And then I'll say, but one thing that we could work on. And you're like, well, you're not talking about we. You're like, talking about...
You use we with a finger pointing at my face.
I'm not saying... I'm not saying it's the right way. But it's my attempt at not making you feel isolated or, you know, or like I'm blaming all the issues on you. So that's, I think, another thing to keep in mind. However you can do that, it's important. Mm-hmm. I do think, I feel like in our experience, it is way easier to come up with the thing that I want you to work on than it is like to really come up with something that you've been doing well and I'm thankful for. I just feel like that's oftentimes the case in relationships too, where it's like, well, I'm just annoyed by, I see this every day. And like, that's the one, your mind just latches on to like the negative thing. So it's a really good, I want to make sure that I'm being your biggest cheerleader and not just your biggest critic too.
Well, it becomes really easy to glance over the stuff that your significant other is doing right, because if you're sitting at home and you like the atmosphere, it just feels comfortable. You don't sit there and think, oh, thank you so much for doing this. You just sit there and you're like, yes, finally. Mm-hmm. So when it comes time for your checkups, it's like, oh, I can't think of anything that I love because I've just been comfortable.
Right.
But you can very easily be like, but you did this and I didn't like it. Go ahead.
I would love to start one more thing with our monthly checkups. We haven't discussed this, but I think it would be worthwhile to either start the monthly checkup with a prayer or end it with a prayer.
Yeah.
Again, just I think prayer is important whether you're religious or not, because it kind of forces you into this mode of like reflection and thoughtfulness. Well, and then also kind of like puts things in perspective to some degree, you know?
Even if you aren't religious and maybe don't pray, you could very easily start every monthly checkup with some mantra or one-liner that's just like, I really want this to be a safe space. It just kind of sets that tone.
It's like a trigger almost of like, okay, we're doing this. It's a primer for what's next.
So we actually...
Are you up for that?
I'm up for it.
Okay, cool.
So we actually started something new in our last monthly checkup, which we did 2 days ago. And we made a very big mistake in our last monthly checkup because we were sitting down for dinner. We didn't schedule our monthly checkup.
That was my fault.
We were kind of on edge with each other a little bit just because we were tired, and we jumped straight into monthly checkups, which ended in arguments.
Which, to our credit, has never really happened before.
Yeah, absolutely.
This is the first time that's happened.
But we did make that mistake. However, something new that we did start, and this is what caused arguments because we didn't see eye to eye on some stuff that we were saying, was we started monthly checkups for Drew. So we did monthly checkups, wife to husband, husband to wife. And then we did monthly checkups as mom to dad, dad to mom, which I think is really good. Just kind of keeping each other in balance with priorities and perspectives for your kid, which I would encourage parents to do. But again, I would always separate wife and husband from mother and father because you have to prioritize your relationship. And then you have to figure out how that works towards parenting.
Yeah. It's almost in some ways helpful to view it as two separate categories,
Absolutely. So you need two separate checkups almost. It's like going to the doctor, guys.
All right, let's interrupt this show real quick and hear from the sponsors, babe.
Cool. Okay, guys, I recently discovered one of the coolest brands that I've ever seen, especially when it comes to their packaging. It is beautiful. It's called Flamingo. Flamingo makes body care for women with hair, aka that's all of us. No women, don't lie. We all have hair. Flamingo really goes above and beyond. When I got my first kit, I was expecting to receive just a razor, but they sent a razor, a replacement blade, shave gel, body lotion. I legit get it all in one spot for less than what I would typically pay for all of those items.
Babe, I want you to go ahead and paint the picture of how well this razor works.
Okay, so best part. You can literally put on your skinny jeans right after you shave. And you might not understand this, but that's an issue. Try Flamingo Shave Set for just $16. It's your entire shave routine, including Flamingo's award-winning razor, shave gel, and body lotion. Plus, they throw in a slip-free shower hook.
That's dope. That's big time.
Yes. I'm telling you, shaving feels better when it's not overpriced. And with their 30-day money-back guarantee, you can try Flamingo risk-free. Flamingo is in over 1 million bathrooms, and it can be in yours too for just $16 with free shipping today when you visit shopflamingo.com/EastFam. That's shopflamingo.com/EastFam.
All right. I'm going to take credit for this next one, this company you found, because you love it now, and you were not sure about it when we started off.
I complained for years about not being able to find a bra that truly fit. Either the straps fell off, the band got stretched out, the cups were loose, or the cups were too tight, or I was overflowing. And literally Andrew found this website and was like, babe, just try this. And it's Third Love.
I'm all about customization. And so when you go to thirdlove.com, you go and take their online fit finder quiz, and it literally puts the bra.
It does. It paints this picture. It's like, what's your issue with bras?
Yeah.
And for women, there's always an issue. And it'll say, are your straps too loose? Are they too wide? They give you 60 days to try whatever bra it is that they suggest. You can wash it, you can wear it. And if it's not perfect for you, you can send it back free.
That's insane.
It is hands down the most comfortable bra you'll ever own. So Third Love knows that there's a perfect bra for everyone. So right now, they are offering my listeners 15% off for your first order. Go to thirdlove.com/couple now to find your perfect fitting bra and get 15% off your first purchase. That's thirdlove.com/couple for 15% off today.
All right, so let me ask you, do you deal with stress and anxiety throughout your day? Do you find yourself on the phone constantly? Stop checking social media and pop open the Abide app to ease your mind.
Abide is the #1 Christian meditation app. Abide users report less stress, lower levels of anxiety and depression, and get better sleep.
Start your day with Abide's daily meditation. Based on biblical scripture, these audio meditations will center you and draw you closer to Christ.
And for a limited time, our listeners will get 25% off a premium subscription when you visit abide.co/EastFam. Yeah.
Abide's meditations start at 2 minutes long, and they're easy to fit in your schedule and feature topics like overcoming anxiety, managing stress, addiction and recovery, finding forgiveness, and more. Get started now with 25% off a premium subscription by downloading the Abide app at abide.co/eastfam. You'll get additional stories and meditations, premium music, soothing sounds, and more. Support this show and get 25% off by going to abide.co/eastfam. That's abide.co/eastfam to download the Abide app and get 25% off your premium subscription. Also, always keep in mind that these links you can find in the show notes down below or in the description. You ready to get back into the show?
I am. Let's do it.
So as Shawn said, the monthly checkup routine and cadence, although we assume we're going to do one once a month, because the first 4 months of having Drew has been, as normal, pretty strenuous on us as we figure out what our new patterns are and what our new routine is. We didn't have monthly checkups for the first 2 months because we were always so emotional.
Well, and that just made me think about the best way to go about checkups is to keep it on a consistent schedule. Otherwise, you start noticing that checkups are only brought up during times of stress or when things are wrong. And so they very easily feel like you're being attacked.
Yeah, which is the exact opposite effect we're going for.
So I would encourage, whether it's monthly, bi-monthly, weekly, daily. We know friends who do it daily, which is amazing. Right before they go to bed, they do a checkup. And they're like, you did this great today. I felt this way when you did this. Or maybe they don't have anything negative. But find your schedule and stick to it so that it doesn't just come up when you have something you want to talk poorly about.
Should we do an example of a live monthly checkup?
I was going to ask if you wanted to.
Are you ready for this?
I felt like I had another thought, but if I do,
we can air it out a little bit here. Go ahead and think of that thought.
It literally just left me.
Did I put you on the spot too much?
But yes, let's do a monthly checkup.
All right. Well, dear Lord, thank you for my beautiful wife. Yeah. And I'm so thankful for the role she's played in my life. And I pray that this monthly checkup will be healthy and we can love each other well.
Yes. Amen.
So, Shawn, I feel like this past month I'm super pumped about because I feel like we finally found our rhythm with Drew. And I've noticed that we've been giggling a lot.
That was my thought.
What? Oh, nice. Hit it.
It literally just went poof.
Are you serious?
Oh, okay. No, I want to do a podcast on what happens between relationships after you have a kid. There you go. That's it.
That's a great one. Yeah. We've gotten requests on that, but I feel like we finally have regained that benefit of the doubt that we typically give each other. And so like when I do something silly, instead of you getting mad, you've laughed at me, which I really appreciate that because it's so easy to grow a problem by, reacting poorly, and you've like really stepped up and reacted really well. So I'm super thankful for that.
Thank you.
I do think though, go ahead.
I'll give my compliment first. So this is kind of over the past 4 months, but over the past 4 months, you've been the best father to Drew, hands down. And I know it's been like really difficult trying to figure out how to be the best like husband and father. But lately this month, you've been doing a ton of like extra work around the house to help me. And it's been amazing.
Thank you.
Thank you for washing bottles.
I think one thing we could work on is I have noticed that there's been blatant times where I have gone out of my way to do something, an act of kindness, and I know you recognize it, and I know it's your stubborn side that prevents you from acknowledging that sacrifice or effort that I made. So I would appreciate, and I think it would be helpful if like it would encourage me to do more of that if you showed appreciation for that,
That's fair.
Yeah.
That is fair. My monthly checkup would be Oh, we've kind of talked about it, but I think you've gotten a lot better at it, and it's just been trying to like figure out the dynamic. But having a stricter, prioritized schedule throughout the day between, since we work from home, we're parents from home, and we're husband and wife from home, being stricter with your schedule of this is husband and wife time, this is work time, this is dad time, you know, kind of protecting those categories and areas so that husband and wife and mom and dad never are sacrificed.
So can I be honest? This is more observational than it is us doing the live monthly checkup. My first reaction to that, and we try to prevent this, is to explain myself or to defend myself.
And I was going to do the same thing with the bottles.
I was like, babe, I've done such a better, I feel like I've been making a lot of progress in that head, but
you can't get defensive with monthly checkups though.
So resume monthly checkup here now that the observation's over. Thank you for that. I will continue to work on it. I know I have a lot that I can improve on. You've
been doing a great job, and you've made a lot of progress in the past 4 months. So I have seen that. I acknowledge it. I just challenge you to go even further.
Okay. Should we do one for Drew now as well as parents?
Yeah. We cannot bring up
the sensitive subject.
The monthly checkup that we had 2 nights ago that caused the argument.
We got heated. No, not really. I mean, it was just an
It's just a monthly checkup I've been asking for 8 years.
I think that it's like, it's tough because it's a really beautiful thing about you, but it's also can be unhealthy at times. You're
micromanaging.
Sure, we can add that to it. No, I'm kidding. Overprotection of Drew sometimes, where I guess I'm a little more hands off of like, hey, you know what? Some bad things will happen, and like we'll probably give her to the wrong person to hold, and she'll probably get sick, but that's okay. I would rather have her get sick than, hoard our child. So I think,
but the corona is on the loose.
Yeah. Are you explaining that?
Yes.
No, I just think constantly evaluating like, okay, is this justified fear, or is this, just made up?
Monthly checkups are so hard not to get defensive and explain yourself.
And I love you also. So keep that in mind.
Thank you. I will work on that. I feel like I'm pretty good at it though.
You can hear it a little bit.
Guys, we have a construction going on in our backyard. We apologize. My monthly checkup for Drew, mom to dad, would be, I don't think you rarely ever do it, but it's going to be my monthly checkup just because I want it to be something that we're both aware of.
Okay.
To try our hardest not to be on our phones when we're with Drew.
Yeah.
And that's honestly more for both of us, because I feel like we live in a world where you're just used to so much stimulus all the time that like sitting and just watching a baby drool can sometimes, you're like, oh, let's check my email while she's drooling. Mm-hmm. But I feel like to be the best parents we can be, I would challenge us both to be very cautious of that. Because I think it teaches her something from day one that we don't want to teach her.
Yeah.
But also takes away some of those special moments.
I agree that I could work on that. So thank you.
Me too.
Thank you for having the perspective and courage to call me out on that.
Yeah.
I love you.
Thanks for calling me out on the
corona. Shawn says it funny and I love it.
I call it the corona. The corona is coming, guys.
So that's kind of how we do the monthly checkup. It was a little different that we had mics and cameras on us, but that was pretty accurate representation. We usually do it at night, not in the middle of the day, but yeah. Other than that.
But no, guys, I would encourage for you all, whether you're dating, engaged, married, parents, or even single, try to have a true monthly checkup with yourself. Like, be honest with yourself.
Yeah.
But try testing it out, seeing how it works for you guys, how you can like make it work in different ways. Again, whether that's daily, quarterly.
Do you think that us being so open to this constructive criticism is because we've had coaches the majority of our lives who have given us constructive criticism in the athletic realm?
I think maybe a little bit. I think we're both perfectionists and want so badly to serve the other person in the best way possible. Mm-hmm. And we both notice we get so frustrated and defeated when we know that we're not showing our love to each other in the way that we can both receive. Mm-hmm. I feel like some of our biggest arguments come from not feeling loved. And so, yeah, I think that comes from our athletic background of like, well, tell me what I can do different and I will do it.
That's the other thing I'm thankful for is the eagerness to and understanding to want to love the other person better and to want to make a sacrifice, even if it's outside your comfort zone, to help the other person out. So that's another important aspect, you know?
Yeah. And to further on that, I will say, not to be like pessimistic, but truly monthly checkups can't work. And I don't think relationships can work if you aren't willing to be sacrificial to make the relationship work. Yeah. Which for us, like every month we're making sacrifices and saying, I will change this for you because I know it's something you need and want. But you have to be willing to do that back and forth. Otherwise, relationships can get in bad places.
Last thing I do want to touch on is the expectation for the quickness of change after I receive the feedback. We don't expect like, oh, in 1 day's time or 1 month's time, this issue will be resolved.
Sometimes it can take 8 years.
You're still salty. And you're funny.
I'm making light of the situation.
No, I know you're funny. I think having the grace and patience for knowing that like it takes time for people to change and so just leave room for that to happen. And
try to set your expectations at a place of like, ladies, if you want your husband or significant other to do laundry more and your monthly checkup is, it would mean a lot if you could chip in with laundry.
Yeah.
If they do laundry once over the course of that month, acknowledge it as work and acknowledge it as them trying. And the next checkup, be like, I noticed you did laundry and that wasn't in your normal routine to even think of it. And I saw it and you did a great job. My new monthly checkup would be, could you try to pitch in 5 times this month?
Yeah.
But again, you're rewiring people's thoughts. You're trying to make them see things the way you see them, which isn't natural.
Yeah.
So you have to have grace with that.
You know what's weird? This sounds like a bunch of like like we're trying to be self-improvement. Neither of us are really like rah-rah, like self-motivational, like I don't know what you categorize those people as, but like we're neither of us are like that. But I do think we both have a perspective of like, hey, if we're not growing, then something's wrong. Mm-hmm. And so this is a way that we can have honest feedback to help us grow. Mm-hmm. So I don't know. I think it's cool. I'm glad we do it. I'm curious to hear what you think about this. Do you have some tradition already out there, you as a listener, where you are able to receive or give feedback to your significant other, or maybe it's a sibling or a parent, or I mean, this could. Mm-hmm. I just think having intentional conversation is really valuable. So we'd love to hear what you have to say about this. I do want to give. Who is who wrote in on that love language with the feedback, the big long email? What was her name? Karen. Thank you, Karen, for your feedback on the love language episode. She was upset that she didn't feel like I fully understood the importance and value that love languages and Enneagrams can bring. And I will admit that I could educate myself a little more and probably increase my appreciation. So thank you, Karen. And
it brought a different perspective of kind of what we were talking about with like our premarital counselor. He helped us understand each other better. Undies. He helped us understand each other better, understand how we communicate, understand how we think. I think Enneagrams, all of it can help people understand themselves and other people better. Whether it doesn't have to define who they are, but it gives them a little insight into this person might think like this.
Yeah.
So I should acknowledge it, and this is how I should act.
And I wasn't completely writing it off, but
no, I know.
Anyway, I appreciate the feedback, Karen. We love hearing all your guys' feedback. We also loved seeing people do the love language quiz with their spouse and tagging us on Instagram stories. So if you guys listen to the podcast and tag us on social media, we always repost. Or if you do an exercise that we recommend, we always repost. So be sure that before we close out, you check all the fun links that we have in the description or show notes down below. Thank you so much for watching and spending time with us. Don't ever forget that there is a speed adjustment button on this.
Andrew listens to podcasts on like 4 times speed. It gives me anxiety.
That's pretty much
literally. Like, how can you take anything away from this?
Sean's like a half speed person.
Yes.
Hello, my name is
like
Shawn.
Dory.
But
thank you guys for listening. If you haven't yet, please subscribe to this podcast. Share it with your friends and family.
Yeah.
Leave us a rating and review. Let us know what other topics you want us to talk about. And we will see you next time.
Yeah, if you do want to write in, you can email couplethingspod@gmail.com. Anyway, thanks for your time, guys. This is the East Fam. Out.